Detroit Den 313. We're back. We are back doing it like we should be doing it. Stephen Will, ready to talk about some Detroit Lions football. But before we get going, you know what to do. Hit that subscribe button and please do not forget that bell icon so you don't miss any of our new content. Steve, lay it on them, man. What we talking?
Just real quick, Will. I know we had to take a week apart because we literally work exact opposite work schedules.
Yeah.
When you're at work, I'm off. When I'm off, you're at work. There's very few days we have where we work together and it overlaps. This was just one of those weird weeks. I saw some of the comments. I think I saw someone comment and say, I feel like a kid stuck in the middle of a divorce with, I don't know if I watch mom's show or dad's show. Obviously, I'm dad in that scenario, but obviously, things
double dads. Double
gay dads. Is that what we are? Just co-parenting?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, just, schedule conflicts. It's a busy life. Summertime's coming up. Kids are out of school. My wife's got me working out in the yard like a dog every day, just putting in work, cracking rocks and splitting wood, just doing it all. But what we're going to talk about today is football related.
Yes, sir.
I got a question for you, William.
Talk to me.
We've talked a lot, and I mean a lot, about the addition of DJ Reader. DJ Reader coming from the Cincinnati Bengals, where they had another kid on their team by the name of Trey Hendrickson.
Mm-hmm.
DJ Reader coming to the Detroit Lions. We got a nice young defensive end ourselves that nobody talks about. I feel like we kind of take Aiden Hutchinson for granted. It's like everybody wants to hear about like these young rookies and like undrafted free agents, but sometimes you got to talk about these big dogs, shine a light on them and give them their day too. So Aiden Hutchinson, addition to DJ Reader, how do you think this is going to go?
Steve, Aiden, I remember last year, Aiden Hutchinson, and people were just not being nice. Like, you would have think I was hearing the word bust talked about and thrown around. Like, I'm like, time out. Wait a second.
Year two, he doesn't have 40 sacks a season. Like,
what's going on? Yeah. So I think that Aiden Hutchinson is about to have the year that solidifies him as one of the pound for pound best edge rushers, because I think that he's kind of been in that window to where people are like, they were throwing the word bust around and then they keep saying like, oh, I mean, he's good, but I think that addition of DJ Reader, Aleem McNeil taking a step forward too. And I know I'm not going to disrespect Coach Campbell. Coach Campbell, I love you. Take with a grain of salt what I'm about to say. But he said, listen, contract years don't mean much. If we got guys worried about contract years that we don't got the right guys, I get where you're coming from. And I agree. We got tough, gritty football players that show up every single practice, every single game. But when you start talking about, can I feed my family? And am I going to feed my family tens of millions of dollars, or am I going to feed my family a couple of mil? It matters. It matters when I'm preparing myself. It mattered last offseason when he was eating lettuce and whatever else he was eating to transform his body. Yeah. You know what I mean? Whatever else he was eating to transform his body. Yeah, man. So I think it matters, man. I think Aleem is going to be highly motivated. DJ Reader is going to be highly motivated to get back and show people that he is the same DJ Reader that he was before he got the quad injury. And I think that all is going to culminate to the Aiden Hutchinson going absolutely bananas. I don't know if they have enough numbers to count the number of sacks that Aiden is about to have. Steve, am I on track? How you feel about it?
Well, that's the thing I brought up is, Trey Hendrickson is one of my favorite pass rushers in the NFL. I think he's very much a sleeper. I feel like if he were playing in a New York market or a California market or Chicago or even something like that, but he's kind of stuck in Cincinnati, where if you're not a diehard football fan, I'm probably saying the name Trey Hendrickson. You're like, I might have to get on my phone and Google search that guy. Let me just tell you,
sack or anything?
Yeah, he's had quite a few. Came from New Orleans. Right. Dan Campbell, Aaron Glenn, kind of familiar with Trey Hendrickson as well. So I'm not saying that DJ Reader created Trey Hendrickson or DJ Reader created JJ Watt or anything like that, because he's just played against some really good or alongside really good defensive ends. Bringing him in with Aiden Hutchinson, you put them right next to each other, same side of the line. Mm-hmm. DJ Reader's taking a guard in the center. Yeah, that leaves Aiden Hutchinson one-on-one with a tackle, or maybe a tight end if you want to chip him, or maybe a small running back. But let's just say he's one-on-one with a tackle. I expect Aiden Hutchinson to get that win more times than not. And then you want to be talking about some different stuff we could throw out with blitzes from that side or stunts or corner blitzes. Like what can't we do in this scenario, William?
Steve, I think about both of the guys, Aleem and DJ Reader, so many times on, and Aiden, I'm sorry, man, but it's just the facts. So many times on other teams' highlight tapes, did you see Aiden Hutchinson just getting just crushed, right? And it's not by one-on-one. It's Aiden absolutely dealing with a tackle, and then next thing you know, the guard is pulling out and blindsiding him, and then the running back's trying to get a little bit of them too. So I think that Aleem and DJ Reader being in there together is gonna eliminate that. There's gonna be no more guards just bailing out to deal with Aiden. The time of us, just completely not being respected in the interior, because Aleem, while he had a step forward, he was a little bit banged up on the back half of that thing. Number one. Number two, Aleem's skill set, being a ex high school running back phenomenon. You know what I mean?
You saw that highlight tape?
Yeah, he looked good, man. He looked good.
I'm a 12th grade senior. In 12th grade, I was about 140 pounds. I probably could have got out of the way fast enough if I saw that kid coming at me.
I'd have grabbed the
business
shoelace.
decision. Yeah, business decision here.
Yeah, exactly. His skill set and DJ Reader's skill set is completely different, man. And I'm hoping that that's the way it ends up. I'm hoping that we end up Aleem and Marcus Davenport side by side, DJ Reader, Aiden Hutchinson side by side. That's what I'm hoping. And I'm hoping, man, that Aiden can just keep the tradition going on. If you play next to DJ Reader, you get 12 million sacks. It's just what needs to be done.
You know what word I heard a lot with Hutch last year? I mean, I heard the B word, which blows my mind. I don't understand. Like, we're talking about a kid who literally should have won Rookie of the Year before. But
the O word?
I heard the word inconsistent.
Okay.
I've been hearing the word. What's the old word?
Overrated? Yeah.
I heard the word inconsistent, and I heard this from Woodward Sports, if we're going to be honest. I didn't really want to go down this road. We're kind of past that. But I heard them calling him inconsistent. I'm just like, would you rather Aiden Hutchinson show up week 2 against Carolina, where it doesn't really mean much, or like week 17 with the division on the line at Cowboy Stadium and week 16 in the playoffs where he got on fire? Which one would you rather have?
I want it on the back end. I want it when we're trying to go get, as Dan Campbell says, the whole enchilada. That's when I want him to be playing his best football.
It's ironic that he said that, because enchiladas are one of my favorite Mexican dishes, if I'm being honest with you. So I've just been craving enchiladas ever since that. I'll eat a whole mess of enchiladas. But you're right. I think it's nice to see, like, oh man, we play 17 games. Let's have Aiden have 17 sacks. Not realistic. Probably not his style. He's not a JJ Watt. He's not a TJ Watt. He's not a any Micah Parsons, who probably, I don't think he'll ever get 17. But you know what I'm saying? Like, he's not one of those. I think his ceiling is probably right around 14. I think there'll be one year where maybe he gets 14, but I feel like if we can flirt with that 11 to 14 range, which is right where we were last year, 11 and a half, Hutch is going to be just fine. And I would rather have that at the end of the season, when it means more like, yeah, don't get me wrong, you still got to win those regular season games. Because I'll talk real quick. I'll talk about something I heard from Lamar Jackson when he was talked about playing the Chiefs opening weekend. And they're like, well, what if you lose? He goes, we still got the rest of the season ahead of us. No, I mean, from a Lions standpoint, if we're playing a team in our conference, everything is on the line. We're talking about seedings later on the year. Every game matters. So yes, I can understand the consistency, but as long as the team itself as a whole is getting wins, I don't care if Aiden Hutchinson doesn't have a sack every single game. If we get more points than the other team and the clock hits zeros and we win the game, that's what matters to me. Steve,
I got upset when Woodward brought out that they did that show, and because I feel like Aiden Hutchinson is the most consistent player that the Detroit Lions have. Every single, and Aleem McNeil said this. I know we've talked about it off air. I can't remember if we talked about it on air or not, but if we did, I'm just going to reiterate. Aleem McNeil said Aiden Hutchinson, since he's been in the NFL, is the only player that showed up day one NFL ready. He was like, this dude is already ready for the pace of practice. He's ready for the physicality. He's got the motor for it. Like, intelligence standpoint, knowing how to rush, he's just ready. Day one, he was ready. And I think that every single football game that I've seen him play, his effort, every single play it's unbelievable. And I've even tossed around, it's too much. And I don't mean that giving his all is too much. Sometimes I feel like he's a little bit out of control. He's out of the play, and there's no way that he's going to make the play. But you still see him in that ugly run, chasing guys down. You know what I mean? And then you see him.
He's not a graceful swan.
No, he's not, man. And then you see him standing there after the play, and he looks like he's gasping for air. And it's not because he's out of shape. It's because he's giving. You could just see that man bearing his soul out there on the football field, and I love it. So inconsistent. Maybe the statistics were inconsistent, but his effort has always been consistent. And now I think Dan Campbell, you say this all the time, and I love it when you say it. Dan Campbell left us some breadcrumbs. He made mention to, and we were looking for edge rushers, and we were talking about defensive scheme, or by we, the Detroit Lions were. He made mention to the fact that sometimes it's not about getting two edge rushers. Sometimes it's about getting somebody who can close that back door and push the rush to the other guy. Right. So I think that Marcus Davenport will be able to get enough rush not to have quarterbacks exiting out the back door his way. And then when he forces that thing back the other way, I think Aiden could be getting a lot of cleanup sacks, a lot of forced sacks, because that rush is definitely going to be coming up the middle as well. Aleem McNeil, he's going to take a step forward again. He had a great season last year. And then DJ Reader, like I said, we know what he is. And Lord forbid, we've already talked about it. Don't let Broderick Martin be good.
Levi Onwuzurike, another player that Dan Campbell was very high on in his press conference the other day.
And it's another contract year for him too.
Yep.
So if Levi is going to get paid, he's got to show some durability. He's got to show that he can get through, a 17-week season, man, or 18-week season, 17-game season. These guys are hungry, man.
Yeah, and Levi's had like a year and a half off because he missed his second year with the back injury. And last year, I think he only played like 10 games. I talked about him the other day. So yeah, it's a contract year for him. But did you see the highlight of Broderick Martin and Mekhi Wingo doing like a little drill on the sideline?
I did not. I heard you talk about it, and I meant to go look at it. I didn't see it.
I got to find it. And I know it was just a drill, but you're talking about a giant of a man. And Mekhi Wingo is not small. He's like, what, 6'1", 280-ish, something like that. I can't remember his exact weight, but he's shorter in stature. Yeah. And Broderick Martin, and again, I know it was a drill, but he absolutely destroyed him. And it wasn't full speed. It wasn't full contact. It was just kind of like a get off drill. Yeah. And I just went, buddy, if he's doing that to offensive linemen, if he's doing that to little centers, little guards,
he's going to be a problem.
Good night. Like, you're going to have to bring a tank in to block this guy. Let that translate into real practices, training camp, games. Our defensive line, I think, is going to be very, very overlooked this offseason. But I think once games start, I think it's going to be the talk of the town.
Steve, can I toss a question or like an idea at you? It's kind of off Aiden Hutchinson's subject, but he's obviously in the mix of it's a D-line situation.
Did it?
Have you thought about this, man? Because in Dan Campbell's I don't know if it was his last press conference, but in one of the last couple press conferences, he talked about Levi Onwuzurike getting some reps at the end.
Yeah.
Right. And it just immediately made me think, man, if Levi can offer something there, if Mekhi Wingo, who is a quick, explosive kid, like if he can offer something there in a goal line situation, in a rush situation where we just want to go with the big boys, you could have Levi, DJ Reader, Aleem McNeil, and then Aiden Hutchinson.
Probably.
Or Aiden stood up. He's had some snaps where he stood up. Could we potentially be DJ Reader, Aleem McNeil, Marcus Davenport, Levi Onwuzurike, and then Aiden standing up in a short down situation, yard, 2 yards, inches. Like, we can get the versatility of the D line, man. Is that something that excites you, man? Because I'm super excited about that aspect of it.
So when I talked about Levi Onwuzurike on my solo the other night, I talked about that, and I said it kind of surprised me because I was anticipating Levi kind of being that rotational D tackle. Mm-hmm. But when Dan said that, I was kind of like, could Levi maybe play a little outside in certain situations? Because he looks athletic. His stats don't exactly blow you away, but if he can, or maybe we use him in like a big package type. I don't know. The sky's the limit. I don't know what we could do. I mean, we haven't even mentioned like Matthew Betts, who I think Dan Campbell said something about. Use that versatility word quite a bit. And there's so many people in this world that are just so worried about that opposite defensive end side. we literally have like 7 guys that are going to be sprinkled in there throughout the season, maybe even more. Like, you know who our core 3 are going to be on the line. Hutch, McNeil, Reeder. Who's that 4th spot? We have about 7 or 8 guys that could potentially see some significant playing time.
Yeah.
I mean, it's scary. And then we could talk about, well, maybe we put him in here and you put Matthew Betts at Sam linebacker. That was kind of hinted at. James Houston, Sam linebacker, or a pass rush specialist. Like, buddy, I'd hate to be a quarterback playing the Detroit Lions in 2024.
Just dudes.
And then, oh, hey, shit, I'm in trouble. Where do I throw the ball? Because now I got a loaded secondary as well. That problem's also been fixed. So what are you going to do?
Yeah, and I like our linebackers. So
unreal.
I mean, like, yeah, but I'm excited for it, man. I think Aiden is bringing it back to Aiden, man. I think Aiden is going to play out of his mind this year. I love that Aaron Glenn kind of lumped him and Jack Campbell in the same, where they said they look different. They look like grown men, you know. So I'm super excited, man, to see these guys get on the field, man. And I want to see Aiden finally take that step to where he's talked about in the conversations of like the TJ Watts. You know what I mean? The Bosa brothers. Like, I want to see him step into that realm, and because he's been the face to me of the Detroit Lions since he's come to town. So I want to see him really just take that, make that imprint and put that stamp on it, man. That you come to Detroit, man, run for your life because Aiden's chasing you.
Yeah, there's a reason his face was on the side of a building during the NFL draft. So he's the face of the Detroit Lions. Him, St. Brown, Sewell, like those are probably the 3. But just final question, Will. So we started the show talking about Trey Hendrickson and his production. Do you see Aiden Hutchinson taking that much more of a step in 2024?
You know what I do, man. If we didn't do what we did as far as with DJ Reeder and Marcus Davenport, I would have questions. But I think that Marcus Davenport is going to offer some things and have some success, and we're just going to keep throwing guys over there on that opposite side of Aiden Hutchinson. Just like you said, we got a lot of depth. We got a lot of dudes that are going to be in camp. Helping everybody sharpen their swords, man. So whoever comes out of that blood bath, as Brad Holmes deemed it, is going to be ready to go. And we're going to have guys that are hungry in the wings, you know what I mean, waiting to come in, and all sending those steak dinners to Aiden Hutchinson. I'm saying, listen, are you ready?
I'm ready.
Steve, I need 15 sacks.
From Hutch?
I need 15 sacks.
I don't see why not. He had 11.5 last year. What's 4 more when your defensive line got a lot better and you're not going to be seeing as many double teams? And maybe where our offense is better and we're in positions late in the game where we're leading and forcing passes. 15's doable. I'd be a little surprised. I think my number is 13.
Okay.
And even 13. No plus or minus, no halves, just straight 13. I'd be ecstatic with that, but anything more is obviously much better. So 13's not even, I wouldn't even call it my base. That's just a guess. I mean, if he goes out and gets 9, I don't care about that either. As long as we're winning football games and our defense as a whole is playing well, and Aiden Hutchinson is a face on a board Monday through Thursday for other teams to have to prepare for, it's going to be okay.
Steve, I got something for our subscribers. If you're watching the show, I got something for you, because if you watched it all the way to the end, then you're going to get this nugget. If Aiden Hutchinson gets 15 sacks.
Oh boy, hot take. You're going to do something.
I will buy an Aiden Hutchinson jersey and raffle it off.
Oh, wow.
Period. I will purchase it. Not with Detroit didn't earn dollars. I will purchase it. I will not beg Steve to go halfsies like we normally do. I will purchase it, and I will buy one of our subscribers an Aiden Hutchinson jersey, and I will raffle one off if he gets 15 sacks.
Shoot, he might have that by week 9.
It's a possibility.
Fingers crossed. All right, guys, we just hopped on here today. Little welcome back. We've been off for a while together. It's nice to get back with Will and talk some football. So leave it in the comments down below. Let us know how you feel about Aiden Hutchinson, breakout year, some other guys we mentioned along this defense. Leave some comments, hit that like button, stick around, subscribe. We'll be back later with another show.
Peace.